Hi, I'm Ray, and this is TinyTableGames. Thanks for clicking on the video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and please join me as I continue my adventure of playing all the games on my game shelf that I've ever gotten around to playing and painting all the miniatures in dire need of paint. Today, we're getting into something different, as you may have noted, Games Workshop games. In particular, Warhammer Underworlds Shadespire. To some of you, you'll be like, oh, well, that sounds nice. And to those of you who are familiar with Warhammer Underworlds should be going, wasn't that like the very first one that came out a while back? Yes, it is. But it's been sitting on my shelf for that long. Loved the miniatures, got 8 different of the teams, painted them all up, as you'll see momentarily, but never got around to actually playing. So I thought I'd use all the teams and do a little single elimination tournament. So it'll be several games, should be pretty entertaining. You get a good feel of how the game works. There's a lot to be said about this. There's a reason that Shadespire is no longer as it used to be. Warhammer Underworld still exists, but now it's the most recent edition is called Emberguard. There's been a lot of changes made. There's a lot to talk about in that. But first, let's meet the teams.
Eight teams coming from all around the mortal realms. The reasons are their own, but they're all here for the same goal: to achieve glory and everlasting fame as they compete here at Shadespire Stadium. Which team will be victorious and earn their glory forever?
So there's going to be a lot going on. Should be a lot of fun. I'd like to comment briefly, though, on the evolution of Warhammer Underworlds. Shadespire, the first one. When Warhammer Underworlds first came out, Games Workshop basically had the idea of let's make the ultimate tabletop tournament game. To do that, they needed to make it a lot more concise than a game of 40K or fantasy. So the idea of just using small teams, which they first got from Necromunda, then Mordheim and Kill Team and so on and so forth. Armageddon's in there too before Kill Team. The idea being that way, less miniatures, they can sell lots more, make unique ones, copy other ones, make little teams, and then you need a more confined space to make it tournament doable. So they create little terrain boards basically. And in that case, in the original game, they used 2 boards to create this space. So the idea was in a tournament, each person brings their boards, and then you roll off and you pick one board and your opponent picks one board, and then the player who lost the roll off gets to position them, and then from there you can deploy your teams out onto special locations on each map that are marked as potential starting locations, regardless of which miniatures you use, and then you go from there. Which is kind of a neat idea, except for the fact what actually happens is in tournaments, because the layouts can be however the people think or feel like doing it, with a couple of exceptions. So you can do, short edge, long edge, catty corner, halfway down, whatever, as long as a couple of requirements were met that I won't bother going into. It resulted in people starting to get sneaky about how things work and optimizing their teams for that. The other part of the game is there's a lot of cards. There's an objective deck that you use and a power deck, which basically is one-shot special moves and stuff like that. And the objective deck is actually how you score points other than just murdering the opponent in the game. And so you get to pick your own objectives, basically, which your opponent doesn't get to know beforehand because it's in your deck. And you've got various power cards that let you either power up your guys in mid-battle or heal people or cause extra damage, all kinds of chaos. So the idea was, with the game, is you've got a team and then you've got a deck. So you can do deck building, because if you buy other teams, they'd come with their own decks because each had their own prepackaged deck, and you could buy extra cards and kind of build it out and do deck building. So in addition to having your team abilities and picking the optimized board for your strategy, which sounds pretty good, but in practice, it kind of drove everybody nuts. You'd see big tournaments where everybody was playing just casual and nobody really wanted to do highly competitive versions of it because it kind of got annoying. It's just really not in the spirit generally of Games Workshop games. People are kind of more cheerful and social than how that was. Plus, some of it got kind of muddy and the rules started getting kind of like all collectible games and working on things games, like with Magic having to start managing your backlog and card interactions and all that stuff. So eventually they hit a reboot, basically, and said, okay, well, the thing that's called Nemesis format, which is basically you can take a prepackaged deck, use that, genericize it a bit so it works with any of the teams, and we're switching the board to a single board. That way there's none of this board strategy stuff going on, and slug it out that way. And generally people like that better. You lose some of the flavor, but they exchanged extra flavor and extra specialization for consistency, a bit more simplicity, and making it actually easier to do tournament style without quite such a learning curve. Because remember, Games Workshop targets new players more than anything else. There's nothing wrong with that, but let's face it, people who've been playing it forever isn't necessarily going to buy every single game that comes out. They'll buy the miniatures they like and the expansions they like, but they're not likely to pick up every core set. And you know, so obviously you target your bigger market, and getting players introduced and churning the player base as people age out, it's important to get new players. So nothing wrong with that. But anyway, that's a long-winded explanation of why Shadespire is different than if you were to go out and play Warhammer Underworlds in a Warhammer store right now today. It would look different than the one I'm going to play. It's still great, but it's different. So that said, let's get to it. So these are the boards that you use. Notice they're double-sided, like I was mentioning. So, you know, when you go to a tournament, you get to pick which one you want, which is cool. In this case, we're just going to be using both. And these little symbols here are indications of where you can put your people at the start. So notice it's not just back row versus back row. These are the objective tokens, which get shuffled up. Notice each has a number on it, and we'll put them face down. They don't count as terrain or anything like that, but usually, sometimes the numbers are significant, sometimes they're not. But by holding objective tokens, that's how you get objective points, and after 3 rounds, that's how you win. Attack dice, defense dice. We'll get into all that stuff as we go. An absolute truckload of tokens for movement and damage and miscellaneous stuff that, again, victory points that we'll get into. I should mention that because this was planned to be an expansion game, there's lots of extra stuff. So additional objective tokens, which we won't be using because we're not doing multiplayer, it's just 2-player. A ton of different versions of the attack dice. They're all the same, but as time went by and you bought new teams, they usually come with extra dice. So you could use your own colored thematic dice based on what team you're using to be more distinct. More expansion cards that came out, this one being the leaders. And basically each card, in the case of power cards, has a look, here's a thing you can do, and here's a type of card it is. Based on that symbol, you can know what kind of card it is, and the symbol over here tells you what teams are allowed to use it. Again, we won't be using these, at least not right off the bat, because I want to keep this as a pretty much straight tournament, as it, you know, was originally out of the box, since that's how I try to do things. And then they have additional terrain boards that you could get. This one introduced lethal terrain, where if you knock somebody else into it, they die or take damage. Probably won't be using this one either. We'll stick to the straight regular boards. But just wanted y'all to see that there's lots of bits and doodads and other stuff, which is, again, part of why they kind of did the reset with the latest version. Some features of the boards that are worth noting. These are impassable spots. You can tell because the hexes stop. And generally they block line of sight. There might be a case where one doesn't, but I haven't seen it yet. Hence the thicker white line around the edge, plus the lack of hexes to try to make it more obvious. So just because I want to keep it nice and tidy and square and all that, this is going to be the board configuration. So all these, all the half hexes around the outside basically don't exist. The edge of the board is the full hexes. So now we take the objectives, and they're face down and randomized. And the placement rules, which were much more intense in tournament situations, you might say, is the first, you can place one, each player takes turns placing them. You can't play them on a starting hex, duh. You can't play them on an edge hex until the very last one. And they can't be within 2 spaces of each other. So if we place the first one right here, which seems exciting, and then the next person can play it, I don't know, let's see, here, because that's not a starting space. Oh, but that is a blocked space, so we can't use that. But we can put it right here. And if I was on that team, I'd want to do that. And back over here with this one, they would say, well, if we're going to do that, we're putting one right here where I can bottleneck it and keep an eye on it. And notice they're 1, 2, 3, so that one's still valid. So we got two on each side and one dead center. So that should be interesting. And now we go through the decks of the various teams, and notice there's tons of extra cards that you can use. They had extras, and there's even a starter in the starter box, some extra cards you can start folding in for deck building, really trying to encourage that. But I'm only going to use the decks as they came pre-packaged because we're not getting into that. The team has a deck of cards. First, it comes with your team. Notice in the case of Steelheart's team, there's only 3 guys total. They have a regular side and an inspired side. That's true for everybody. And notice these are actually sleeved. Turns out they also sewed thematic deck sleeves. So it would come with the appropriate number of clear sleeves, and then would come with really nice decorative sleeves for your objectives, and then different sleeves, but also nice and themed to your team, in this case Sigmar's Hammer, for your power cards. And they did that for all the teams, and these sleeves are gorgeous. I have to say, they was probably one of my favorite sleeve package products that they ever made for Games Workshop. Movement, defense, hit points, range of attack. When you roll a white attack dice, you're looking for hammers. That tells you if you hit, and you get to roll 3 dice. And if you do connect, you do 2 points of damage. And this fighter rolls a shield or a critical, which is the exclamation point, when the target of an attack. And if that trigger event happens, then they go to their highly motivated side, inspired, and it improves their stats basically, and gives them in some cases a second attack line. You can only use 1, but we'll see. Anyway, okay, so a bit more set up now, and we can go through things. Both teams have their army cards here off to the side. Various tokens to indicate moving, dodging, wound tokens, and glory points, aka victory points. I should also mention there's 2 different types of power cards. There's a ploy and a power-up. So the power-ups are basically that, and ploys are little gearbox things, which basically change how the game works for a minute. There's rules if you're doing deck building about how many of each you have to have, and certain minimums that can't be crossed and all that sort of thing. But again, we're not going to get into all that, as we will be sticking purely with the base sets as they come packaged in the game, rather than get into deck building for a deck building system that they changed because it turns out it was too complicated. People didn't like it. So here is the basic structure of how the game goes. So you place the boards, place the objective tokens, draw cards, and place the fighters. That's the part we're up to now. We'll do that in a moment. And then there's only 3 rounds in victory. So there's certain card timing mechanics and stuff like that that can come into play. But basically, if it's their turn, they use one of their activations. They either move or attack or charge or draw a card. And then they're allowed to play one of their power cards or swap, if that's what they want to do, because it's usually things like +1 defense or Frenzy or Whirlwind of Death or other cool stuff, Healing Potion. And then once that's done, your opponent can respond with another one like Stuck in Glue, you can't move, or I don't think that is one, but just saying. And then once that's done and everybody's content, then the other guys do an activation, and then you go through the whole process again until everybody's done 4 activations. And then you do that 3 times. And that's the game. So basically, the game will consist of 12 activations in total per side, which is not a lot when you think about it, which is partially why the game is tuned the way it is. Very tight board, minimal actions, extra things you can boost with the cards because they wanted a card building mechanic in there. Deck building, really, a la Magic, to make it more competitive and give people something to think about besides just moving around on a fairly small board. So that said, now we're up to placing our dudes. Here we have Angarad Brightshield. In the Shadespire version, they always have artwork and then a tiny picture of what the miniature actually looks like. Here's how I painted it up. One thing I really like about the miniatures from all of the Warhammer Underworlds is the super nice bases that you can really go to town with. They put a ton of detail. All those little leaves and things were all sculpted onto the base. All I had to do was paint it and highlight it up and bring all that stuff into highlight, if you will. They're all push-to-fit miniatures too, which is why there's occasional gaps, but what are you going to do? Which you would expect, given the fact that he's packing a giant hammer. And of course, Severance Steelheart himself, being the noble guy, always has to, take his helmet off and whatnot, and he's standing on the little ledge there and everything. And like I said, love the detail. Delightful miniatures to paint. That's actually the whole reason I got into this game to start with. Is I loved the small units of really highly detailed miniatures with great little bases. Just lots of fun to paint. All right. So that said, where are we placing these guys? And I should mention, it's like all things in a highly competitive format. It isn't just I throw my guys down, you throw your guys down. It's more like in 40K where you take turns placing the miniatures. So anytime it's a roll-off, you just roll 4 dice, and you want to count how many criticals, aka, where is it, explosion symbols you get, because there's only 1 on each die. So for Steelheart, they got 0. And for Gorebeard there, they got 1. I think we will start off with Arnulf here, who looks more formidable than his card would suggest. He has terrible stats compared to the other guys, but he's pretty spry, and he dodges rather than shields. All that means is what die you roll on your defense die. In this case, that means he avoids a hit as opposed to the shield. So it just depends. Anyway, we will put him back here to start because he is kind of crunchy. Now it's over to the Steelheart's team, and we will put Steelheart up right here next to an objective. So next up we'll place Garrick Gorebeard, who also doesn't hit that hard until he gets wound up over here and inspired. And he gets inspired when at least 3 fighters are out of action, including his own, so it doesn't matter, he don't care. He works for Khorne. You can tell by his giant Khornate belt buckle, which I just find deeply amusing. And of course, they're all about the skulls and whatnot, so painting these guys is interesting. They even have like little tattoos that they carved into. Like I said, can't say enough about how detailed they've made these miniatures. It's really quite fun. Okay, so we will place Gorebeard. Let's see, there's an objective there, an objective here. He can claim this one. Gorebeard's gonna be all aggressive and right up in the middle here. So next on this side, we will place, I guess Oberyn the Bold. As you can see, again, love the bases. So he's pretty movie, hits pretty hard, doesn't roll as many dice. So we are going to put him right here so he can move up aggressively or fall back to pick up this objective, depending. Over on this side, we're going to go with Targor, who is, again, his pose is much mightier than his actual stats, but we're going to put him right up here as a bit of fodder, actually, because we want old Gorebeard to get wound up. Angered Bright Shield, which, if you can see him right here. Actually, I think I'm going to put him right here. They're going out super aggressive. Gorebeard side, we got Karsus the Chained. You can tell because he's got a chain on his axe. So I think we're going to place him right here to reinforce this side, since we've got 2 of our opponents there with Steelheart's Legion on that side. So everything's set up. Now we're getting ready to actually start. Here is the hand that Gorebeard drew. He's got Khorne Cares Not for one of his objectives at the moment. Score this in an end phase if 5 or more fighters are out of action. Probably hang on to that, but I don't know. Hold objective 5. Well, we don't know which one objective 5 is yet, but we will in a minute. And Annihilation, wow. Score this in an end phase if all enemy fighters have been taken out of action. Well, that's worth 5, so that's maybe we'll hang on to that and head towards objective 5. Because most of their power-ups involve taking people out, including themselves. And you get 6 power cards. They got +1 defense, good grief. Roll an extra attack die when doing a charge. Unstoppable charge, restricted to Sake. Notice how some of these say only certain fighters can make those actions, which is also, again, part of the theming. and part of the extra details and card building that they all threw into this originally that they then had to dial back slightly because it was getting ridiculously complicated. Stormcast Eternals, Annihilation, that seems real familiar. Hold Objective 5, that is also familiar. And Hold Objective 3. Normally you flip these first and then place your dudes, but what fun is that? So there's 1, here's 2. There's number 3. So where's number 4? Right here. Oh, wow, that's 5. Yikes. Okay. Okay, to start the round, we do another roll-off. The Stormcasts get a +1 to the roll because they had less miniatures, so they get a total of 1 success. And the Gorebeard also gets 1. So you do it again. The Stormcast again. That's 2 Gorebeards. 1. So the Stormcasts get to go first. If they choose to. They don't have to. They can force Gorebeard to go first if they'd like, and I think they might because they're vastly outnumbered. So, for Gorebeard's first activation, let's see. What are his goals again? Wipe everybody out. Corn cares not. So wipe some people out, wipe everybody out, or hold Objective 5. Okay, so we will do a move action. And we'll use, I guess we'll use this guy, Blooded Sake. He can move up to 4, which is kind of a waste, but now he's holding an objective. Okay, so that is his activation complete. Now we do a power step. Let's see, all of these are upgrade cards, but you have to have at least 1 glory point already to flip it to activate one. We got a couple ploy cards, healing potion, don't need that at the moment. All attacks in the next activation have the cross swords characteristic. Yeah, we'll just hold off on that. So we're passing, and is Steelheart doing anything with theirs? Okay, so everybody passes, so now we're over to Steelheart for their activation. And remember, they want Objective 3 or 5. So let's see. I think we will activate Steelheart and have him move up and claim Objective 3. See how long that lasts. And then, is he going to play a power card? I think he's going to play Stormforged Resistance. Because the likelihood of somebody trying to knock him off of there is pretty good. But that's in the next activation. Is he going to get charged? Probably. So we will risk it and play Stormforged Resistance, which we'll leave out here to remind ourselves that he cannot be pushed back. Let's see. And all attack actions, roll defense die. Yep, so we've got to wait to claim something. So we are going to charge. And we'll do it with the big guy. Charge just means you get to move and attack. You put this little token down here to remind yourself that they did that. Because you don't get to do it twice. And he's moved over here, so we need to keep track of that too. Because you can give people multiple attack actions, but you can't give them multiple move actions in a turn. Okay. So let's see, he rolls 2 dice and hits with hammers. For hammers, gets no hammer, but he does get a critical hit. So now Steelheart gets to roll defense. He gets 1 defense die, and he's looking for a shield. And he gets a shield. And here we come to one of the weirder combat elements, at least once you're getting used to the game. So he had no successes, but he had 1 critical, which counts as a success. And Steelheart had 1 defense success of a shield. So here's this rule. Critical success. In addition to counting as a success, critical successes can change the outcome of combat. If the attacker has more critical successes than the target, the attack action is successful regardless of the number of successes rolled by the other player. So he rolled a defense, but because he rolled a critical attack, it goes through anyway. So Steelheart takes 2 of his 4. And let's see, what's his trigger action? This fighter rolls a shield when the target of an attack. Oh, so just like that, he is inspired. Well, at least Steelheart got inspired, even though he got his bell rung. And normally when you're hit, there's pushback that can happen, but recall that we have the no pushback possible. So he can't get pushed off the objective at this time. Okay, so that brings us on to the power step. Let's see, is there anything they want to play? We'll play Blood Rain, and let's see. And I think the Stormcast are going to play Righteous Zeal, because it looks like things are going to get busy real quick. To Steelheart's second activation, and we are going to activate Steelheart. He's not going to move, this time he's just going to attack, and we're going to use his Righteous Zeal boost, which gives +1 damage to the first activation, or first attack action. And he is going to use his Sigmarite Broadsword, rolls 2 dice and does 3 damage on its own. Roll that one again. It's 2 crits. And let's see, Gorebeard has 1 defense die, and it is a dodge symbol. He does not get it. So the attack goes off. It would do 3 damage, but he is boosted with Righteous Zeal, so he does 4 damage to Gorebeard, which is quite sufficient to remove him from the game. And doing so gives Steelheart a glory point. Okay, we're on to the power step. Let's see. We will attach Lightning Blast to Oberon by using one of our victory points. When they make a critical hit, it deals 1 damage on enemy fighters adjacent, because that sounds cool. That's that. We're on to activation 3. Let's see, that guy's still holding his objective, so that's all good. He can be knocked off his perch now. So this guy is going to charge, I think. He hits with swords on 2 dice. And he gets 1 hit. And our inspired storm shield there. Wow, has no problem deflecting. So in that case, there's no criticals to throw it off, so it's just a straight up, he catches the blow on his shield, and that is that. See, any power cards on the part of the Chaos team? No. I think we'll play Peal of Thunder, choose an enemy fighter, and push them 1 hex in any direction. So we're going to pick this guy and shove him off of his objective. So now he doesn't have that objective claimed, and he can't move because he's already done that this round. So that's kind of dirty. And with that, that'll be the end of the thing. And so it's over to Steelhearts for their 3rd activation. Gonna move up. To right here. And there he will be ready. Let's see, is he playing any more power cards? We don't have any more to play. And neither does Gorebeard, so over his 4th action, Arnulf there is going to sprint across using 4. 1, 2, 3 to claim the objective once more. Nothing else for him to play. Over to Steelheart for their 4th action. He's going to charge. He rolls 3 dice and does 2 damage. Hitting on hammers. So he gets 1 crit. Okay, this guy in response has 1 defense and it's a dodge. And he doesn't get it. So he takes 2 points of damage from Angarad Bright Shield. And notice, Targor only had 2 points of damage. That's the 2nd guy down. So his token goes away. Bright Shield picks up another glory point. And that's we come to the end of the round, which is a good thing. So let's see, check the objective cards. Let's see, we do in fact hold objective 5. So we get 1 victory point for Steelheart. Let's see, hold objective 3, no. Annihilation, not yet. We can do any more upgrades if we want to. I think we'll spend 1 glory point to give Angard their heroic might, so he can his action gains cleave, which means he can attack more than one opponent if they happen to be standing there, because that seems cool. Over here, they hold objective 5, so that's 1 glory point. But with that glory point, what are they going to do? Whirlwind of Death? Yes, I think so. We are going to give Karsus the Chain the Whirlwind of Death, because that sounds awesome. And their glory point is spent. Okay. Now you can discard any of the remaining power cards if you don't want to use them anymore. Probably never use this one, so I'm going to discard that one from Steelheart's side. And over here, Healing Potion, probably not too applicable. I think we'll discard +1 defense and Unstoppable Charge, because those are neat but not super useful right now, and we need things that are more direct action right now, I think. Let's see, pick up the tokens. Let's see. Now let's see, Steelheart needs to draw 1 objective because they're down to 2. So let's see, his new objective is Denial. Score this in the 3rd end phase if there are no enemy fighters in your territory, which means that whole half of the board. Wow. In the 3rd end phase. Wow, so not till the end of the game. That doesn't seem like enough victory points for that, but okay. And over here, let's see. We used hold objective 5, so that's discarded. And the new one is, it begins. Score this in end phase if 1 fighter from each warband is out of action. Oh wow, hey, we're hanging on to that one for sure. Let's see, power card wise. Steelheart used all theirs and discarded the rest, so they draw back up to 5. Same with Gorebeard, they got 2 they're hanging on to, so they draw 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Reset everybody's actions. And we are 1/3 through the game. Okay, it's the start of turn 2. So at the start of each phase of the game, each round, you have to roll initiative again. So, Steelheart's up. First action. Let's see, they're already holding objective 3, so that's good. They need to keep people off their side of the board. That's also good. And annihilate their opponent. So he's going to move. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be his action. And power cards are going to go ahead and use the Lightning Blade and upgrade that on Steelheart with our last active token there. And these guys don't have anything they can use, so unless they have a ploy, let's see, we've got Insensate, only suffers 1 damage. That's probably a good thing. We're going to play that. So Choppy Guy here is going to go, and he's going to charge. And he hits with hammers, 2 hammers, and he does up to 3 damage. So swing away here. And he gets 1 crit. So that's not nothing. And Hammer Guy there defends with 1 die, getting shields. And he does, but it doesn't matter because the crit overrides it. He'd have to get a counter crit, if you will. So he hits him. He takes 3 damage. We will play Unstoppable Strike. The first attack action in the next activation gains Cleave. Okay, it is now the Steelheart's team's decision on what they're doing. And I think not Steelheart is going to charge forward and, well, charge. 1, 2, 3. So he gets the charge icon, so he can't do anything else as a reminder. Yep, same with this guy. Let's see. So he is swinging with 3 dice, does 2 damage. And he will target this guy because he hasn't done anything yet. So 3 dice hitting on hammers. One hit, and that's it. This guy can't support because you have to be adjacent to the guy you're hitting, so I probably should have gone for that guy. That's my bad. So 1 hit, and the guy's defending is Anulf. Let's see, he gets 1 defense die, and he only has 2 hit points anyway, so. But he defends successfully. Okay, back to Gorebeard's team there. He can't do anything else because he charged, but he sure can. So he's going to poke straight back. So if he can roll a critical, that'd be cool. He hits once, but it's not a critical. And defense-wise, he defends with a shield. And he sure does. Boink, bounces right off. Let's see, so next up we're going to have Hammer Guy swing away again since he moved but didn't attack. And he's looking for hammers. And he gets 1 hammer. And he has 1 assist, but that requires both 2 assists, so it doesn't count. So he just gets the 1 hammer. And defense. Yep, rats. Gorebeard's team's action. Karsus the Chained is gonna sprint up here and charge because he can go for it. And attack Steelheart with 3 dice. And he does 2 damage if he hits. And he hits with swords. And crits. So that's 2 crits. That's pretty dang good. And Steelheart defends with 2 shields. He gets 1 defend, but that's not enough to fend off 2 crits. So he takes 3 damage, which gives Gorebeard's team a glory point as they take Steelheart out of action. Back to Steelheart's side. Only he can attack because that guy did the charge. So he will swing away again with his 3 dice. Oh, excuse me, 2 dice. Hitting on hammers. Gets 1. And with 1 support this time because he's going for that guy. So that's 2 hits. Which probably means this guy is screwed because he only has 1 defense die. Yep, and it doesn't work anyway. So he takes 3 damage from the big hammer, which is enough to take him out. So he is out, and this guy, because of the chain lightning, takes 1 damage himself. To the last action, which has got to be this guy because he's the only one left. And he is not going to get off that location, I don't think, because we still have a claim 5, right? Oh, no, we don't, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Who's more wounded? Hammer Guy, obviously. Charge, but he's going to do it like 1, 2, 3, 4. And poke at him that way. Let's see. He only hits with 2 swords and does 1 damage. Well, both hit, and 1's a crit. And he defends with a shield, and he does not do it. So he takes 2 damage, which is enough to take him out. So Gorebeard's team gets a second glory point as the second round of 3 ends. And now it's time to do the end of round scoring and whatnot. So on Gorebeard's side, lone fighter from each side is out of action, so they're going to score that one for 1 more glory point. And 5 or more fighters, there's a 5 down total, so they're going to score that one too for 2 more. And over here, they no longer hold objective 3, and they can't score denial yet anyway, but they don't have it right now, so they score nothing at all. So Gorebeard's team with the big comeback, despite they only have, well, 2-1 left, so. All right. Let's see, any end of round business? Healing potion? Yeah, nobody survives long enough. Well, he is wounded, so we'll give him the healing potion. On a roll of shield or exclamation point, remove up to 2 wound tokens, so we will use that one. So he gets to remove 1 wound token, which is all he had, so he is healed up. Over here, attach Brave Strike to himself before it's too late, which basically is just roll an extra attack die if there are no adjacent friendly figures. So initiative going into the 3rd. That's for Steelheart. And Gorebeard. So Gorebeard goes first. Karsus the Chained is going to charge. Actually, does he even need to? Yeah, range 2, he can't quite get there. So we're going to have him charge to here. And make the hand-to-hand blow because it's stronger. And mind you, he gets +1 to the attack. So 3 dice, swords, does 3 damage if he connects. He's really turned out to be the rock star for this. One crit, and that's it. For defense, he's got 1 shield, and he gets it. But the crit overrides it, so he takes the damage anyway. So 3 damage to him. Out of his total of 4, so things are not looking good. Let's see. Power cards. We will assign Great Fortitude to Karsus to give him an extra hit point. And over here, we will play Heroic Guard, which adds to his defensive value. And back over here, we're going to play Sidestep, choose a friendly fighter and push them 1 hex to move this guy closer. And now back over here, we're going to play the Valiant Attack ploy, which means enemy fighters cannot support the target of the first attack action in the next activation, since otherwise they would be. So, first action for what's left of the Stormcast Eternals. He is inspired now, which isn't really that helpful outside of it gives him an extra shield, but okay. He's at least going to step back. Take his guard token with him. The only thing to do is charge with the next guy, but he can run 4, so no problem there. And again, hitting with 2 dice. Doing 1 damage with swords. Nope, clean miss. Back over to Bright Shield. Face him this way so it's more cinematic. And I guess he will attack this guy with 3 dice. Yeah, those are hits. Unless this guy rolls a crit in his defense, he's done. He did not. So he is out. And they get a second glory token. And back over to Gorebeard's side. I believe that we will use his ranged attack with his chain. Oh, and he is now inspired himself. That's nice. Because so many people are out. He's just going to stand there and fling his axe at him. So 3 dice hitting on 2s. That's about perfect positioning for him. And he gets 1 hit in there because he hits with swords. And Bright Shield obviously defends with shields, but he doesn't. And that takes him out. So, scoring. Annihilation, yep. Blood for the Blood God did not happen. Hold Objective 3 also did not happen, but we get 5 more glory points for wiping everybody out. And that's about it. Denial, they do score 3 glory points for keeping him out of their side, just because he didn't know he needed to run over there. So, in the end, you count your spent glory and your unspent glory. Clear victory for Gorebeard's team. So there you have round 1. Steelheart's team was immediately eliminated in the first round thanks to Gorebeard's Raiders, something like that. In any case, I hope you enjoyed it. That's the first game. Going forward, I won't bother with so much explanation, and we'll just jump straight into each round. I'm Ray, this is TinyTableGames. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in round 2.